Hello friends! This week on Heat Vision Breakdown, we are joined by very special guest Ralph Macchio, who is the star of Cobra Kai Season 2, available right now on YouTube. We're also celebrating the 35th anniversary of The Karate Kid. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. Let's start off a little bit with Cobra Kai Season 2. This season, you take on more of a Miyagi-esque nature to your character. You're a mentor now.
That's right. He's trying to carry on the legacy and focused on showing the San Fernando Valley students the better way. And it's pretty big stakes for LaRusso because he has to live up to that legacy and carry on the teachings of his mentor without the ability to have his mentor to tap into.
Right.
And some of the hurdles that happen is just, I always describe as just because you have knowledge of a subject doesn't necessarily mean you know how to teach it. And that every student is different. And, Miyagi had one kid. LaRusso's trying to recruit a ton of students. And when, doing backyard chores is the base of the theory, it's kind of tough to get the kids to come on over.
But it works. You won the championship.
Yes, it does, for sure. I mean, listen, there's not a car that hasn't been waxed that it hasn't paid off for this guy.
Speaking of Karate Kid, it is the 35th anniversary of the film,
which is crazy.
It's insane. What scene from that film do you think really kind of captures the essence of that story? What's the scene that you kind of look back on with fondness?
Well, there are more than a few. I guess one of the scenes that touches me the most is the drunk scene, where you learn of Miyagi's backstory and you watch this kid view his mentor from a different perspective and then take that knowledge that he's learned and carry it on himself and into that transition of the montage. Also the scene where we all learn what all these chores were and that they pay off to be, martial arts defensive moves. There's a lot of magic in that movie. I know people would like for me to say, getting my ass kicked by the Cobra Kai is my most fond memory, but great as they were, there's a lot of them.
One of the scenes that I personally love is obviously the wax on, wax off scene. That car, the 1948 Ford Super Deluxe Club convertible, I've heard that you still own that car. Is that true?
It's partly true. I definitely own the car. It was a 47 Ford.
Oh my gosh.
That's not you. It's somewhere out there in the ether that it's a 48. I think they made replicas that they've sold like little toys and it says 48 Super Deluxe. But it's a 1947 Ford. It is featured in the Cobra Kai series in season 2. And going forward, as we are now prepping up to shoot season 3. Yeah, it's just fantastic to have the actual car in the show now. It's a character. It's the one girl that's stuck by LaRusso all these years.
I've also heard that Chuck Norris was originally offered the role of the Cobra Kai sensei. Is that true? Do you know anything about that?
I believe this is a truth or consequences kind of interview. I really feel like
it's hard
like I feel like they should be like lie detector stuff. Chuck Norris, I know this much. That was certainly in the conversation for Sensei Kreese. You're saying?
Yes.
Yes. The casting of Marty Cove took place very late. We were already shooting the movie when he came in, and he was on a show called Cagney and Lacey at the time. So it was once they found him, and once that was a match, it was about figuring out how he could do it. And fortunately for us, Marty Cove is the Darth Vader of the 80s and now back in Cobra Kai and throwing a wrench in everyone's lives.
Right, still iconic. I hate to change tacks to something a little bit more serious, but in 2005 when Pat Morita passed away, you gave a eulogy at his funeral. What did you say? How was that experience for you?
Well, that was, certainly it was a tough day. It was my privilege to do it. I was nervous at what to say, so I didn't do a lot of prep outside of speaking from my heart and knowing how rare it is to have that sort of piece of magic that I always call my relationship with him and those performances a bit of soulful magic, and I think that still resonates in the Karate Kid film and even in Cobra Kai. It's real important to have that because the essence of what he brought to that role is something that has become a piece of pop culture. There was one line I had in my head that I wanted to end when I spoke of him and what he meant to me is forever my sensei. It came up to me on the plane out to Vegas, which is where the services were, and I said that, and it's kind of stuck in the press, and I'm proud of it.
You've had a lot of great cameos over the years on shows like How I Met Your Mother. You were on Entourage, which is one that always sticks out to me. The thing about Entourage is that it dealt with an experience that happened at the Playboy Mansion. I'm wondering if there was any truth behind that.
Oh God! You want me to unleash all my nights, my late nights into early mornings at the Playboy Mansion before the wife and kids?
So we do know that there were late nights.
Yeah, no. You know what? Sadly, the first and last time I spent 13, 14 hours at the Playboy Mansion was shooting that scene from Entourage.
Ah.
So sadly, I have no true stories that I'm going to disclose now.
You were also in The Outsiders, which is another really iconic movie. It launched
Love
so
that
many
film.
careers. It's a fantastic movie. It had a really grueling audition process, from what I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
How was that audition process for you personally?
It was a tough audition process. Francis Coppola, who directed The Outsiders, did something that often is never done, which is getting hundreds, it felt like, it was probably maybe 50, actors in one soundstage to sit around the perimeter, and then he would call different actors to play different roles like it was theater camp. So you're essentially in front of a video camera and this table with Francis Ford Coppola and his casting people and 12 different teen magazines as he's trying to plug and play who would be right for these roles that were iconic as far as, maybe not iconic, but famous through the book. So you're watching other actors perform, trying not to be informed by their reactions of the director, and then you're being viewed by a theater community as you're being judged for the role. It was very difficult for him. He just felt he was creating this, how to get the chemistry all working together. So whether it was Mickey Rourke or Dennis Quaid or Matt Dillon or myself or Tom Cruise or Scott Baio it was just like all these people auditioning. And fortunately for me, I got the part I wanted. I read a few scenes, and then I read his Ponyboy and Two Bit, but I just wanted to play this Johnny character, and I actually raised my hand to do a monologue from the book because I felt I wasn't getting the attention. I think the reason I wasn't getting the attention is because he had made up his mind. So lucky for me, I got to play one of the best roles in that movie.
Yeah, well, it worked out for you and for us as the audience too, because it
Thank
is.
you.
Like you said, it's an iconic movie. It also has a really iconic poster of all you guys kind of laughing and smiling together. I had heard that the reason that you were all laughing and smiling is because you cracked a joke about Leif Garrett off set trying to eat at a craft service table.
I did. I don't totally regret it, but it's like I wish there was another story. It is. I almost forgot that till someone brought it up. I don't know if it was Emilio or Rob Lowe or reminded me of, we were taking all these shots, all these different kind of photos, like brooding greasers, tough guys, street guys, and then they put us all in this sort of circle, and I said, we're just going to take a group shot here, and then one of the production guys behind the camera saying, listen, everything over here, all the food over here is just for the talent. It's, he was telling the crew guys, and then Leif Garrett was walking by. I said, remember, Leif, he just said that's just for the talent. And he got this big laugh, and because it's the greasers and the Socs, and he played a Soc, and we were the greasers. So there was a bit of that rivalry stuff going on. And then I instantly, like, the left side of my brain or the right side of my brain had like a little sympathy, like, boy, that was a little harsh. And then the other side of my brain was like, yeah, I just nailed him. And we laugh about it to this day. And obviously, everybody just cracked up, and there's the picture.
Right. To jump out of the 80s into the 90s a little bit, you were also in My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah.
Jonathan Lynn had never seen The Karate Kid before casting you, is that true?
That's true.
That's crazy.
He goes, what is this Karate Kid? What is it about?
About a kid who
What
does
is
karate.
it good? And it was funny because I think the studio at the time were just like, yeah, you don't want him. He's the Karate Kid guy, from the... We're looking at... I know some of the names that were on the list. I don't want to say that either because I don't want to dog anybody. They're big stars now. The two names that the studio wanted are super huge stars right now. And then Jonathan was just like, yeah, but he's like perfect for the role. Let me see this Karate Kid thing. And it's great because I auditioned. I got the part for the right reasons, I like to believe.
Yeah. Did he ever watch it afterwards? Has he
Yes.
seen the Karate? Okay,
Yes.
so he has seen
He
the
said,
Karate
whoa,
Kid.
I should have cast you before you came in.
He's the one person.
It's great. He's a great guy. And that movie, My Cousin Vinny, I call it the late for dinner movie. If it's on, you're going to be late for dinner.
I love it. I'd also heard that Will Smith was originally up for the role as your character's sidekick in that film. Did you ever do a screen test
Yes,
with him?
that's one of the big movie stars.
Really?
I was gonna
Okay.
say. Yeah, well, I might as well go out right now. It was Ben Stiller and Will Smith. That's who the studio wanted. And even though he's written as Vinny's cousin, they said, well, we'll figure that out later. Will actually did come in to read, and we read together for My Cousin Vinny at one point. And I think when He called me once they decided to make a remake of The Karate Kid in 2010. My opening line was, "The last time I saw you was when we auditioned for My Cousin Vinny. That's the first and last time that I got the part and you didn't." That was it. We had fun.
I don't know if you remember this. In 1992, you were on Letterman, and you were 30 years old is what you said in the interview. You said, "To me, it's traumatic when I look 30. I figure in 20 years, I'll be there." That was almost 30 years ago, and you still look like you're hovering right around 30. How are you staying so youthful?
Yeah, it's my parents' fault. I don't know. Maybe it's martial arts, but I do very little martial arts unless the camera's rolling. I would blame it on my parents, good genes, and a decently healthy lifestyle. Yeah, I got that youthful thing.
Yeah.
There's a tie-in for My Cousin Vinny. See, look at that. I'm just segueing everything together.
Did you say Utes?
Yeah, 2 Utes.
Can you still crane kick?
You're not going to see it.
That's not a no.
Yes, it's not a no. It probably doesn't look quite as good as it did 35 years ago, but I get asked all the time. The only time I will assume the position outside of for the Cobra Kai series, which we did in season 2 in one episode, is when I get asked by the troops on the military bases. If they ask me, then we're all in, and that usually shuts everybody else up.
Nice. Crane kicking for the troops. I'll ask you one last question, and it's the hardest one. People have said that possibly your character in The Karate Kid, in the original one, cheated in that tournament because they made blows to the head illegal. Mm-hmm. Do you view yourself as a cheater?
I don't view him as a cheater. I mean, I don't think anyone... It's the great thing about all this stuff and the fan theories and the pop culture relevance of Justice for Johnny, and it was an illegal crane kick, you should never won. That stuff, people say, how do you feel? We feel bad. No, you don't feel bad. They're talking about your movie 35 years later. We have a hit show somehow that's relevant in 2019 because of great writing first and foremost, and great performances, but because of this relevance in pop culture. If they could keep talking about the movie, it's awesome. I think it doesn't hold water. I think everyone who was in the movie theater back in the day or saw that movie was not rooting against the kid that was being beat up constantly.
Right.
But it's awfully fun to go on technicalities now, and if it was an illegal kick, it makes for better storytelling.
Well, The Karate Kid endures. The second season is available right now on YouTube of Cobra Kai, and it's the 35th anniversary of one of the best movies ever in Karate Kid. Ralph Macchio, thank you so much for coming by.
Thanks for having me. I had fun.